Hey, greetings, everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, and welcome to the Steadfast and Loyal program.
You gotta light 'em up before they burn it down. Better dig deep, put 'em in the ground. Blood on their hands, they're hellbound. Save us all. Ooh, they're gonna burn it down. Save us all before they burn it down.
Hey folks, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West here at Watchtower Firearms. This is the custom design AR-15 that was just made for me. It's got my Steadfast and Loyal logo there. On this side, you can see my signature, my master parachutist wings, of course, American flag. And I just want to tell you that you can't be a great American unless you have a great American weapon. And that's exactly what Watchtower Firearms is building. Great American weapons, all American parts, manufactured right here in the great state of Texas. And oh, by the way, let me see, where is the serial number on this one? TX1836. If you're from Texas, I think you know what that means. God bless you. God bless Watchtower.
Hit, dead center. Yes.
Hey, greetings, everyone. Welcome back to the Steadfast and Loyal podcast. You know, there's a lot going on here in the state of Texas. And I think one of the things we have to really maintain vigilance on is the onerous intrusion of federal government agencies like the ATF when it comes to our Second Amendment and our gun rights. We know that we have some issues with the bump stock. We have some issues also with the pistol brace and other things. And we just recently saw what happened out in New Mexico with Governor Grisham. So I thought we'd have a good conversation with someone that is right at the tip of the spear when it comes to fighting for our Second Amendment rights here in the state of Texas, and that is Wes Virdell. Beginning in July of 2022, Wes Virdell was named the Texas State Director for Gun Owners of America, and I'm a life member of GOA. Wes has been a gun rights activist for over a decade and has seen the effectiveness of GOA and other gun organizations being made. He is also a veteran of the United States Air Force, a competitive shooter, an avid outdoorsman, and he is recently announced that he is going to be running for a Texas State House. Wes Virdell, welcome to the Steadfast and Loyal program.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Okay, so you have been in the position there with GOA. First and foremost, can you kind of give folks an understanding of GOA, their mission, and what delineates them from, I used to be on the board of the NRA. I stepped down from that about 3 years ago. What delineates them from the National Rifle Association?
Yeah, we were founded in 1976. Probably the key difference between us is we're very aggressive. We're no compromise. We are actually known as a no compromise gun organization.
Yes.
And so for the last 40 years, we've had almost 40 years, we've had a ton of really good victories on the Supreme Court level. We've gotten very active in suing states when they're violating the Second Amendment. And one thing that kind of sets us apart from a lot of different gun groups is instead of kind of sucking up, or catering to legislators, basically, we have been very aggressive on, hey, if you campaign a Second Amendment and you don't support Second Amendment, we're going to call you out to your constituents. So that's been our biggest thing is legislators don't ever want to be labeled as anti-2A. And so they're willing to work with us. They're willing to let us talk about bills. And thankfully, we are thankful for the legislators. Like they helped pass the constitutional carry in 2021 in Texas.
Yes.
That was a GOA bill. So that was our biggest win in Texas so far. And we've been very active in state legislatures since about 2018.
Well, let's talk about the recent lawsuit that you brought forward that has been successful. And this was about the pistol brace, where,
Yes,
GOA members now have the protection based upon the lawsuit you brought about against the ATF. Kind of give us an understanding about that.
Yep. So that really has to do with initially any rifle, any AR-15 that has a barrel less than 16 inches falls into two categories. It's either going to be a pistol or it's going to be a short-barreled rifle, depending on the stock that's on that. In this situation, the ATF had released a clarification letter stating that pistol brace is okay. This is back a couple of years back, saying pistol brace is okay. It's not an issue to have one. And then they made another clarification letter that said it's okay to shoulder that pistol brace also. So ended up with 40 million AR-15 pistols being out there among the general public in America. And then Biden gets in office, and of course he does what crazy Democrats do, and he weaponizes the ATF against us again. And they classify all of these pistol braces as short-barreled rifles. So now potentially you had 40 million people that were going to be faced with possible felonies if they kept possession of this. Yeah. And so in this situation, we worked closely with Ken Paxton's office. We co-filed a lawsuit. Their lawyers and our lawyers got together, worked on the language on it. And on May 31st, we filed it. May 31st, we were granted a preliminary injunction. And that preliminary injunction was great in the way it was worded. So all GOA members across the United States are protected currently from the ATF coming after them while we fight through the court. So if you have a pistol brace and you're a member of Gun Owners of America, or you're an employee of the state of Texas, which is who Ken Paxton represented, then you're protected currently as it goes through the court system.
You know what is so strange for me is, you have people out there. This is a rifle. This is a short barrel rifle. This is a pistol. But the bottom line is it doesn't do anything to the caliber. It's still the exact same projectile that is coming out. So how do we conduct a fight to take, and of course, there's the assault weapon thing, which, the tomahawk that I have here or the pencil that I have, and that could be used as an assault weapon, anything used to assault a person. How can we do better in fighting the left with the language that they're out there using?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just exposing the truth, showing the facts. The problem is the left doesn't care about facts. They're all about the emotion, so they try to scare you. Your tomahawk there is black, which makes it scarier, right?
Yeah. Now that's racist. I mean, you say because it's black, it's scarier. I mean, I'm just messing with you.
You said it. They try to play on the emotions. That they try to take. An example that we had in the state legislature this session was the Allen, Texas shooting happened. Terrible situation. The shooter was 33. I believe he was 33 years old. That very Monday, they tried to pass a bill out of committee. They did get it passed out of committee. We tried to get to the Capitol before they could take the vote on it. Luckily, it got killed further down the line. But they tried to pass a bill to raise the age to 21 to purchase a semi-automatic firearm. The shooter was 33, but they used that situation to justify taking the rights away from 18, 19, and 20-year-olds. And thankfully the courts had already ruled previously to this in Texas. Judge Mark Pittman out of the North Texas court ended up ruling that 18, 19, and 20-year-olds deserve the same rights as 21 and up. They're constitutionally protected. And so we did the numbers on that, and I think there's roughly 20 million young adults, 18, 19, and 20 in America, and there's about 2 million of those in Texas. And so if you look at those numbers, basically there's groups of people that say we want to take the rights away from 20 million young adults here in the country. And so we 100% fight against that. We think all rights are inalienable, and we want to protect them. And unfortunately, they're using crazy things that don't even apply to justify them trying to take away your rights. And we look at countries that are in complete disarray because they don't have the Second Amendment. And thank God we have that Second Amendment right now.
Well, I mean, we're looking at that in Israel right now, where you only have about 2 to 3% of people in the population out there that are law-abiding citizens that, have firearms. And look at what had happened there. The terrorists come in. And the other thing is so interesting because you served in the Air Force. I served in the Army. I wasn't smart enough to be in the Air Force. But 18, 19, and 20-year-olds, they get an AR-15, but we call it an M4. And it can go fully on automatic. So how can you look at a young person that's enlisting in our military that we're going to give this firearm to, but yet tell them you can't go out and purchase the firearm to protect yourself? To me, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, to even go with that is, I worked on intercontinental ballistic missiles, and we had 18, 19-year-old guys there working on one of the most deadliest weapon systems we
Yeah.
have in the world. I mean, they're obviously competent enough to do that, but leftists want to tell you that they're not, so that we should take them away. You either are an adult when you turn 18 or you're not. We live in a society where they keep trying to change or move the goalpost, and
Yeah.
if we keep going at this rate, before we know it, they're going to be 35 before they consider them an adult, which is going to be insanity.
It's so funny. They think that 16-year-olds can go out there and vote, but the 18,
Yep.
19, 20-year-old can't purchase a firearm to protect themselves. It's the
Yeah.
hypocrisy is laughable. What was the concern of GOA, Gun Owners of America, when you saw what Governor Grisham tried to do over in New Mexico?
That is one of the most egregious things that we've seen happen in recent years. And luckily, GOA jumped on that really quickly. But the idea that she somehow thought she had the tyrannical power to take away people's rights to open or concealed carry in that state, and then she backpedaled and tried to make it just into certain criteria. It's kind of died down now. I'm not sure where it's at. I got to go back and research where it's at today on it. But I know that I think we had filed a lawsuit against the governor on that. I hope the people of New Mexico realize they have a tyrant in position of leadership, and they need to remove that tyrant as fast as possible.
When you look at the state of Texas as the state director of GOA, from an A down to F, how would you rate the state of Texas and what they do as far as protecting our Second Amendment rights here?
I would give it a B right now. It used to be worse.
Interesting.
I would probably put us in the D category. We did have a license to carry. Susanna Huff had worked back in 95 and her parents were killed in the Luby shooting. She was there.
Yes, I remember.
But think about it, it took from 1836 to 1995 just to get to where they allowed some people to carry a pistol to defend themselves in those situations. And then it took us another 20 years before we got open carry passed. We were one of only 6 states in the country that didn't allow some form of open carry. And that's what it got me going to the Capitol, was back around 2011 was the fight for open carry started really kind of becoming public, that, hey, why aren't we allowed to do this? We could carry a rifle without a problem, but we couldn't carry our pistol openly. And thankfully, a lot of activists showed up. 2015, we got that passed. And then like the real kind of battle started, which is let's get to constitutional carry. And so just grew more in activism, people coming. And one of the things we found interesting over and over, and we talk about Democrat chairs killing our stuff, we had to deal with that through that process often. But we also had to deal with some of the police unions, which police unions do some really great things for law enforcement in certain parts of what they're dealing with. But they many of them kept coming year after year testifying against our bills, and they kept always testifying using the same statement: it's going to be blood in the streets, the Wild West. Everybody's just going to be killing each other. And we knew statistically that wasn't going to happen, because the states that had some form of open carry didn't have those numbers to go along with that. And then I also found this interesting. We passed the open carry bill, and then 2017, the same guys show up again, and they start saying the same thing about constitutional carry. What was nice was one of the committee members actually said, hey, you said before we passed open carry is going to be blood in the streets in the Wild West, and none of that happened. Why do you believe that's going to be the case now? And he ended up shutting them down pretty quickly on it. So it's a lot of fear-based. If we Texas, I look at it this way: people who are put in leadership positions and act with fear and make decisions on fear are terrible leaders. Texas is supposed to be leading with the implementation. We do not have fear. We're going to do the right thing regardless, and we're going to stand up. That's where we should be at. We're trying to get a lot of kind of more minutia, I guess you would say, bills, kind of refine some stuff that we're going to pass hopefully next time. But I would give us a B, maybe a B plus, but we need to get to that A category. So we've got some bills to work on that will get us there. And the good news is there's some legislators that have shown some promise in helping us with that. We're going to lose Matt Schaefer this year. Matt Schaefer was he was a great legislator. He carried our constitutional carry bill, and he carried our bill for HB 2837 this year, which was to stop credit card companies from tracking our firearm purchases. So that is a very good bill. We're thankful for that. Hopefully somebody, and like I said, I'm running for office, so hopefully I get to be the guy that steps up and carries those bills. But we hope somebody will step up and carry some really good bills for us next time.
Well, excellent transition because you have declared yourself as a candidate for Texas State House. Tell us about the district and tell us, is this an open seat or you're going to be running in a primary against an incumbent?
Yep. So I'm running against an incumbent. The district includes 16 counties. It's the biggest or second biggest district in the state right now. It's about 340 miles long, and it includes Fort Stockton, Sonora, Ozona, Rankin, Crane, McCamey. Let's drop down into Brady, Llano, Mason, Kerrville, Bandera, Hondo, Castroville, Rock Springs, and some others. So there's a lot of towns in there, and
So
what's going to be interesting.
you've got some West Texas and a little bit of hill country coming back over, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's a wide variety of landscape and industries throughout throughout the district.
How close is your district to the border?
We are, I think, probably 50 miles, maybe 80 miles from the border. I think it's the closest we get to it.
So,
Yep.
but within a doubt, you're in what I call a border control zone, an operational control zone. So you
Yeah.
definitely get the second and the third order effects that are coming off of that border. So, the governor just called for a third special session. How do you feel about what's going on with our Texas State House right now? Obviously, you're not happy with it, and I'd like to know the incumbent that you're running against. Did he or she did they vote for this impeachment of the Attorney General?
It's even worse than voting for the impeachment. They were the leader of the impeachment. They led the House impeachment team, and that's my opponent's Andrew Murr, and he. I'm thankful. I hate that Ken Paxton had to go through this, but I'm thankful that a lot of truth is being seen by Texans right now on how the House is working. It's the district is like we talk about being a border district. We have a lot of ranchers that have immigrants coming across, even down south below our district. Ranchers down there can't do anything about the immigrants coming across right now. They've been told that if they try to detain the immigrants as they come across their property or defend their property, that they'll be charged with kidnapping and other things if they detain the immigrants. So
Repeat that for the audience. Here are legal, law-abiding citizens of the United States of America, ranch owners here in Texas, that are being told if people come onto their property illegally, they're going to be charged with a crime?
yeah, they'll if they try to detain somebody that has come onto their property illegally, they have been told by Border Patrol that they will be charged with kidnapping. So it's absolute insanity what are some of our federal agencies are telling these people. And if you own property, so one of the things we see is kids aren't allowed to roam free on these ranches anymore. Like I grew up
No.
in the country, and you can't dare let your kids go out by themselves on the property now because you have no idea if they're going to be kidnapped, killed. Who knows? I don't even want to get into all the stuff that could happen, but that's not freedom when you don't have that ability to run around, without worry of that stuff. And we know danger is going to happen, but you should be able to run around on your ranch and not have concern that you're going to encounter cartel members or anything like that. To my opponent, I ran against him one time before. We did really well, but we tried to call out his voting record and that his wife and them had bought a house outside of the district and homesteaded it. Anyways, this time his voting record got far worse, and then he led the Paxton impeachment. So he is front and center on his voting record right now, and he can't run and hide from it like before. We watch a lot of politicians campaign and push out mailers. When you send mailers out, you can put anything you want on it. Nobody's going to question it. He's not going to be able to get away with that this time. Like people are really going to be questioning his actions. And one of the problems we've had is he doesn't engage with constituents. You as a representative should be that voice that they can go to and talk to and know that you're going to be in the House representing them. And unfortunately, we don't have that right now.
And that's how it just should not be that way. And of course, he is one of the leading captains or lieutenants for the Speaker of the House, Dave Phelan. And you're right, he was the top person that brought together this special investigation committee that was really hidden from the public. And the next thing you know, we have these charges on the Attorney General. And so I applaud you for stepping up and saying this is not what we want here in the state of Texas, especially from what is supposed to be a Republican majority. Tell us what would be your top 3 issues as a member of the Texas State House.
top three issues. First one I'm going to go with is water rights. We have a massive water issue across the district, and it's starting to spread into other districts too. And that has to do with that. We live in a area where we're kind of treated like the stepchildren, I guess you would say, in the rural communities. And so the cities get a lot of preferential treatment, and they've come in and bought properties within our district, got the water rights, and then they ship it back to the cities. So now we're dealing with already in a drought, hurting. Water is going to be a huge issue for us, and I want to make sure that we have a representative that's fighting for the people in our district to make sure our water is not being taken from us. They say the next big war is going to be over water, and it feels like it's coming up soon. Border, extremely important to me. Back in 2020, when Trump was building the wall, I actually was in the trucking industry, and I actually went and picked up 9 pieces of the wall from around Corpus Christi, Ingleside, Texas, and hauled it to a port just south of Tucson, Arizona. And I can tell you then it was pretty interesting. What was interesting too was the people that were building that wall. We had some Americans there, but a lot of people were coming from Mexico every day and helping build that wall, which I thought was pretty interesting. Sometime I'll show you pictures of what the border looked like before that wall was going up. And literally it was just some 4-inch square tubing on on some crosses that would hold it up. So literally just talking about a pipe that was running down the borderline. You could, literally jump over it like it's a low fence. And then it's pretty crazy to think that was our border. So Border Patrol, we need to make sure that we're helping them. But the problem we have is we have the federal government telling them not to secure the border, which is crazy too. For me, the biggest priority on the third one, I would say, is going to be the firearms. That's a passion of mine, and I want to make sure that we protect it. We had a bill that died this session. So Briscoe Cain had filed a bill to stop red flag laws from ever being implemented in Texas. Would have been a great bill for us. And we had 2 Republicans on the committee intentionally not show up to the vote for the bill so that the Democrats would have a majority in the committee and kill the bill. We're going to be hammering those Republicans in their district for their primary coming up and let people know what they did. But there's issues like that need to be there. And the other thing, which is number 4, I know you asked for 3, but the other thing is we watch the Democrats kill our bills all the time on points of orders.
Yes.
And it takes 10 legislators to challenge that point of order. We didn't get that. The border bill, the HB 20 bill, that died on a point of order by a Democrat, and it was accepted by the Speaker of the House. Also to mention that the parliamentarian that Dave Phelan hired is an Obama attorney. The head parliamentarian in there is an Obama attorney. That is
so here we are in supposedly the state of Texas, a red state with a majority of Republicans in the Texas State House. I think it's 83 to 67, but yet Democrats. First of all, it was 61 to 60 Democrats who voted to impeach Ken Paxton.
Yep.
But Democrats are using points of order to kill legislation such as border control legislation. And we have a parliamentarian in a Republican majority Texas State House that was an Obama lawyer.
Yes, sir. That's my understanding of that. And everything I've seen looks to be correct on it. And then we have where we need 10 Republicans to step up and challenge it. I think we had 6 that day step up to challenge that. Like, one of my goals is to make sure that we have legislators ready to go to challenge every point of order that the Democrats are going to make, because we should not be getting our butts whipped by the Democrats right now. We need to be the guys that are controlling the House. And that goes back to fear. A lot of people say, well, who are you going to vote for Speaker? And it's definitely not going to be Dave Phelan. But this goes back, I think you'll appreciate this. There were 3 guys that refused to sign the Constitution at the Philadelphia Convention, one of them being George Mason. And those 3 guys, even though they were in a minority position, they were willing to stand up, what would be considered unpopular. And so they stood up. They challenged the leadership. It ended up causing the Federalist versus Anti-Federalist debate that went on. And those 3 guys in the minority forced a conversation that led to us having a Bill of Rights in the Constitution. Yes. They were trying to argue that we didn't need it, that the states had their own Bill of Rights. Thank God that people who weren't afraid to lead off of actual leadership were willing to stand up. And that's what we need in the House. Because I watch a lot of legislators that have gotten elected over the years. They go there and they're afraid that if they don't support the speaker or the leadership, that they're going to be ineffective. And those guys who make those votes with fear in their hearts become the most ineffective guys in the House.
Yeah, I wrote a piece for Town Hall, said the tenacious versus the timid. because Democrats, when they're in the majority, they're tyrannical, but even in the minority, they're tenacious, as you just articulated. And we are always timid. And I just don't get it, especially here in the state of Texas. Last question I want to ask you. When you look at what is happening over in Israel right now, where Hamas terrorists were able to infiltrate that country and go in and kill innocent civilians, do you have that same concern with what you see happening with our border, where we're allowing millions of single military-aged males to come in? Some of them we know, others we don't know. But is that a danger, you think, for your constituents down there?
100%. I absolutely, like, it makes my blood boil seeing the videos that are coming out of what's happening to the women over there. I know you're probably built the same way, where it just, like, the first thing you want to do is go over there and try to help take care of the bad guys.
Yeah, take my tomahawk.
Yeah. And, I don't know if you remember saying this. I watched you say something one time that's really stuck with me, and it's principle over personality. That's what we need to be sending into to that legislature. We need people that are willing to fight for us, that are willing to tell the truth, even if it's unpopular. But that's where we need to be at. We cannot send these weak spine guys back into the legislature, because, like I said, when they lead with fear, they screw every one of us over.
You're absolutely right. And I will tell you that my state representative, Angie Chin Button, is another one of them that she needs to go home. So,
Yes,
Wes
sir.
Virdell, how can people follow you as State Director of Gun Owners of America here in Texas? And how can people follow your campaign for Texas State House?
Yes, sir. So if we're on the gun owner side, you can go to GOATexas.com, sign up for our emails or join. We are member funded, and that's how we get things done is through our members. They're the ones that help fund us to be at the Capitol fighting for them, and to be a lot of other places too fighting for them. For the campaign, it's VirdellForTexas.com. That's V as in Victor, IR, D as in Delta, ELLFOR, Texas, TEXAS. For military guys, Victor India Romeo Delta Echo Lima Lima ForTexas.com. So
there you go. Hey, look, I wish you all the success, because I really believe that the GOP primaries next March here in Texas are going to be quite revealing, because we have to have people in the Texas State House, Texas State Senate, down in Austin, that will fight for our principles and values and protect the citizens here in Texas. And I want to applaud you for stepping up to the plate to do exactly that. Wes Virdell, thank you so much for joining us here on the Steadfast and Loyal program.
appreciate it. We'll see.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining us for this episode of the Steadfast and Loyal program. Very big special thanks to Wes Virdell for taking time off the campaign trail, as we have come to know, to be with us to talk about the Second Amendment, the Gun Owners of America organization, and also his run for Texas State House. If you like this program, please click the like button and share it with others. And until next time, steadfast and loyal.
Before they burn it down.